Hi everyone. So I made it to here. It's hard to say where here is. I think it's called Palazzone. I'm a little bit beyond because I want to find a nice place. And there was a castle, but castles are closed on Sundays. I don't know. It wasn't open yet, so I couldn't film from the castle. But I found this nice little bell tower, and it's interesting because it's like it has trees growing on it, and it's like it looks slightly abandoned. I think it's kind of cool looking. The only problem is there's cars like right there, so I will maybe be interrupted. I'll try to speak up a little bit. So yeah, yesterday I left my Airbnb and visited Verona a little more. So I saw Juliet's balcony again. I had a good time just walking about, not really with a goal in mind, just walking about, nothing in particular. So yeah, and I went to the other side of the river because when I went there the night before, the sun was not in the right place. So since it was the morning, the sun was finally in the right place and lit up the city, and that's what I wanted. Otherwise, not much in Verona. Just walking around, it was nice to see like some small details in the streets. But no, the whole city is rather, well, the old city at least, is rather beautiful. So it was nice to just walk around and yeah, visit it for a little bit. Otherwise, no, around 11, it was time to go. And I just made my way. So Verona to Padua was the route I took. I just haven't finished it yet. I paused in the middle. But not super scenic. In the morning, there was nothing really particular about the road that was interesting. It was just around 1, I decided to take my lunch break. Here, I'll keep the clock tower there to keep it interesting. I took my lunch break, and I just happened to stop in this place called, I keep confusing it with Savona, but no, that was on the coast. This is Soave, S-O-A-V-E, Soave. And by chance, like, there was a market going on, so I just walked around the market, and there was a whole lot of chocolate. So I was like, what? And turns out it was like the feria of chocolate. So it was rather nice. I didn't get any chocolate though. Wasn't really in the chocolate mood. But there was other stands as well, and one was meats and cheese. And so I was walking by, and the person in charge used a typical salesman tactic, and I fell for it, which was like, "Ooh, try this and try this and try this," and then you feel bad about leaving without buying anything. So she made me try cheese with truffles, which was okay. I don't know, I didn't think they really went together, but that's just me. Then she made me try cheese with red wine, and that went well together. That's the one I ended up buying. And then she made me try wild boar. So that was really good too, but I went with cheese with red wine. I guess red wine in it, or made with red wine, I don't know. But yeah, I got some from it. And then I went to another stand to get some focaccia, just because that was the only really thing to eat that was not chocolate or cheese. So I wanted something, yeah, with a bit more lunchiness to it. I don't know how to say. Something that could be eaten for lunch that's not, yeah, a block of cheese. So I had that. And then there was a castle, so I tried to visit the castle, but the castle is closed from noon to 2:30. So I didn't end up visiting the castle. Because by the time 2:30 came around, like if I had visited it, it would have been taking me to 3:30, and then leaving at 3:30. There was an hour left of cycling. I don't know. It didn't seem very doable. And so I just walked around the castle, which was beautiful from the outside, but I think it would have been better in the inside. And what was kind of neat was, like, from up top, because the castle was on a hill, you could see the village. And the village had like a rectangular wall around it that connected to the castle wall. And so it was just nice. It's like kind of fun to see the walls from up high. And yeah, that's what I'm finding with the towns around here is that, first of all, there's a lot of Venetian influence. I know Venice had a big influence here in the 1500s, and it seems like when they came, they're like, you need to step up your defenses. And because a lot of times, like a lot of doors, or I guess gates to the city, or a lot of walls, have the Lion of Saint Mark on it, with an open book in its paw, and so that's like the Venetian sign. And so I'm seeing a lot of that in the towns I've been to so far, and so that's kind of neat to see. And so that was Soave. I had my gelato. I had cookies and tiramisu flavors, and then I went on my way. And then there was, yeah, again, the route was pretty boring. The only sort of eventful thing that happened was that there was this group of cyclists. I want to say 4 or 5 of them. I'm not sure what they were doing, because some of them seemed to be on a journey, so they had like, they were carrying things, and some of them just didn't have anything, didn't have a helmet, so it's a bit hard to know like what they were up to. But anyway, I was right behind them, and then there was a hill that, yeah, like a very steep but short hill, and so I told myself I'm not gonna touch down, like I'm gonna go for it. But I ended up being right behind them, and so my option, I wanted to pass them, but the only issue was that as I wanted to pass them, because they touched ground, a car was passing me, so I really didn't have a choice. So I had to go at their speed, and I couldn't do it, so I had to touch ground. So I wasn't really happy about that. But then I passed them, and then I ran out of water. So I passed them, ran out of water, did a water stop once I found some, and then they passed me. And then there was the big hill of the day, which was, I think, around 200-300 meters. And I was like, okay, I really, because mountains are coming up, so I want to get some practice of mountains. So I told myself, okay, I can't touch down, like I need to go, like in one go. But they were ahead of me, so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna try my best and try not to fall behind them. So we all went up, and that was fine. But they stopped at a because it went up for a little bit, then stopped, and then went up again. So they stopped there, and I told myself, if I stop now, they'll be ahead of me again, and it's not gonna be nice, because then it's gonna be hard to pass them. So I was like, okay, I need to keep going. So I kept going in one stretch, and yeah, and just went and managed to do it. I didn't touch ground, so I was quite proud of myself, and that's it. And that was the sort of big event of the riding day, and then it was a lot of downhill, which was great. And today is going to be really easy. It's an hour and a half of no slope, so that was it for me. But I guess the sort of interesting thing about yesterday was how I found lodging. So around 5:30, the sun was setting, like it was starting to be a bit cooler and like a bit darker. So like, okay, I need to find lodging. So I had looked for Airbnb, nothing. I had looked for campsites, but they're all closed. And so I was like, I'll just ask people. Usually people are quite good with just telling me where it's okay to camp. And so I didn't find anyone. I found this old lady in her yard, and so I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna try it. And I should have known better, like that the older generation isn't as good with English or with like figuring out what I'm trying to say. But I tried it anyway, and then she tried to understand, and she's like, oh, hold on, Inglesi, or I forgot how you say English in Italian, but I was like, yes, do you speak English? And she's like, hold on, and she goes into her house, or I'm guessing it's her house, and she comes out with a young man, and he's probably like 15, 16, maybe 14, and he speaks English quite well. Not perfect, like I could see that he wasn't a native speaker, but he, like, for something that he probably learned at school, it was really incredible. Like, he could make full sentences, he could have a conversation with me, I could understand him, he could understand me, so it was really good. So I try to tell him my issues, and then he like translate to his grandma, and then he thought about it too. He's like, okay, hold on. And then he told me, okay, there's an agritourism place over there, which is basically a hotel that also doubles as a farm, from what I understand. And then he's like, oh, and there's another one down that way, a kilometer, but it was like the way I just came, so I wasn't very keen. So I was like, okay, thank you so much. I thanked the nonna because he's called her nonna, so I'm guessing it's his grandmother. Oh, cyclists. So I thanked them both and then went to the agritourism place. Once there, it looked really fancy. It was like an old barn that had been renovated, and yeah, the people around. Oh, there's a big tractor that's gonna make noise. I'm just gonna hold on for a little bit. Look at the view. All right, it's gone. So yeah, once I got there, I didn't want to sort of step in. I was like, I don't want them to be like, who's this weirdo barging in? So I kept my bike outside and I kind of like peered in because, well, there was a gate and everything that was open. So I was like, I don't know if I should go in or not. And finally, like this one person like came walking past. I'm like, hi, and I tried to speak in Italian. They're like, no. I was like, do you speak English? They said no. And they're like, hold on, come with me. And so I followed her to a man. So I spoke to the man and he's like, no, don't understand you, hold on. And he brought me to the cook. And the cook was this lady who spoke English really well. And so I spoke to her and she's like, oh, okay. And she calls someone. And then she calls someone else, and she's like, okay, no, everything's closed. I'm like, okay, well, that's too bad. She's like, well, no, hold on. So she calls someone else, and then the person answers. She's like, okay, we got it. I'm like, perfect. And so then she explains that she's like, I would have talked to my boss about it, like the owner, but they're not here, and I would have called them, but the thing is, they're having a lot of trouble right now. So, and I told her, like, I don't mind, like, it's really nice of you to put that much trouble in it. She's like, no, I cycle around as well. I've had the trouble, like, don't worry. But here, what you're gonna do, you're gonna keep going on this road, and there's another agritourism place, and that agritourism place says that they'll take you. So no problem there. I'm like, oh, thank you so much. So yeah, so then I kept going to the other agritourism place, and by this time, like, night is starting to set in. So I go to the other agritourism place. There's an Australian man there. He says, hi, like, are you looking to stay here? I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, I the person was just on the phone with you, or I forgot how he phrased it. Let me get him. So he goes gets him, and then this gentleman called Enrico comes, and Enrico's like, yeah, okay, you can sit up here. Do you need a shower? I'm like, nope, no shower. Like, he's like, do you want food? I'm like, no food. Like, all I need is a place to stay. Like, that's all I really need, like a bit of grass. And he's like, oh, okay, no problem. He shows me the toilets. Like, I know you need toilets. So the toilets are here. He's like, do you want, oh, there's no toilet paper. I'm like, I brought my own toilet paper. Like, I am set for this. Like, I know what I'm doing. So he thought it was quite funny. But yeah, so he showed me around, and it was this really nice place. And so at the end I was like, okay, so like, how much do I owe you for like this? He's like, oh no, don't worry. But do you want breakfast tomorrow? I'm like, oh, he's like, it's €5 for breakfast. It'd be great. I was like, yeah, like, sign me up. Because I just didn't know how fancy it was. And so yeah, I got breakfast, and then as soon as I start setting up my tent, this gentleman, so the Australian gentleman that spoke to me, I figured out he's Australian, I'm not just guessing. He came and spoke to me, and he came with a pizza box, and he's like, are you hungry? I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, because I got pizza, and I have 2 slices left, and I can't eat it anymore. So would you like some pizza? I was like, oh, yes. And so we became best friends after that. No, but he was really, really kind. So he gave me the 2 slices of pizza, which were really nice. And then from there, so he gave me the pizza, and we started talking. And so I'll tell you more about what he does, but it started setting. He's like, I'll let you set up your tent. I know it's getting dark and everything. But are you having breakfast tomorrow? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm having breakfast. I asked for it at 8:30. He's like, oh, I asked for it at 8. So I'm like, oh, perfect. We can meet up and speak some more. He's like, good. So we met up for breakfast this morning. And yeah, so his trip, yeah, because he's also on bicycle. I don't know if I mentioned that. But his trip is basically the opposite of mine. I'm going northeast to southwest. No, sorry, northwest to southeast. He's going northeast to southwest. So he's doing, I forget where it is, I think it's Frankfurt in Germany, all the way to Rome. And I'm doing Paris, obviously, to Istanbul. And so, like, we're meeting here. So it makes, like, an X, and we're just in the middle of the X. And so, no, we spoke a lot. So he just retired. I think he said he retired 2 months ago. And he's doing this trip on his own. And yeah, he's just taking his time. He's using the same app as I am, so it makes me, like, feel like I'm using the right app. But he does tell me that, like, he passed through Slovenia, as I'm going to do, but he's like, no, don't take the road I did. So he recommended another route, so I'm gonna take that. And no, just we spoke a little bit about history, about sort of countries denying their history and countries fully accepting their history, good and bad, because he was quite surprised how Germany is very honest and accepting of their history, whereas other places just would sort of hide it a bit more and say no, that, or not fully accept it. So we spoke a little bit about that. What else did we speak about? Oh, we also spoke about vegetarianism. So he's a vegetarian, and he's like, no, I don't eat, like, any sort of meat, like even fish or anything. And I was like, oh, I'm trying to be, but at the same time, it was breakfast and there was, like, bits of charcuterie, and I was eating that. So I was like, I'm being a terrible vegetarian. I've always been a terrible vegetarian. So yeah, flexitarian. But yeah, I didn't know there was a vegetarian option for breakfast. They said breakfast, I said yes, and this is what I got. But yeah, so it was quite funny. But yeah, and then he's going to Verona, so from where I came from yesterday, and I'm going, actually he didn't pass by Padua, but I'm going to Padua. So I have about an hour and a half left to go, or I haven't really started, so I have an hour to do today, and then I'm meeting Lucy in Padua, so I'm looking forward to that. Alright, yeah, I'll make another video, maybe with a guest speaker Lucy. That could be nice, later on today. Alright, bye.